research. We'll talk about everything, why it matters, how to do it, how you're going to get started. Let's start looking at it. So for research, you have to care because the programs you're applying to care. Especially for BSMD programs, they pretty much expect it. It improves your STEM candidacy as somebody who's applying into being a Premed program or a BSMD program or even a top Ivy League school. And publications, presentations, and research awards set you apart. A lot of the research that you will end up doing can qualify you for a lot of competitions that are seen as quite elite and important. Now, if you don't do it, it'll make for a much weaker STEM application, okay? And everybody is going to have it. So this goes back to some of the other things like competitions that people do or capstone projects. You have to do them because they're expected and everybody else is doing them. So you need to do it as well just to keep up with them, right? It's very competitive out there. And it worsens chances at BSMDs. Like I said, at BSMD programs, it's almost pretty much expected. And I say almost pretty much because like there could be that one program that really doesn't care for it. But you're not going to put all your eggs in one basket for that one program, right? So you need to do it to improve your chances. So what is it? All right, so research, kind of just to put a definition to it, it's a systematic investigation to explore, analyze, or solve a scientific or medical problem. But you probably have a feel for what it is, right, without even knowing this definition. But for pre-med and BSMD students, this could mean a couple things for you. Conducting experiments in biology, chem, or like any other discipline. Analyzing medical data to identify trends and diseases or treatments, developing innovations in healthcare tech or public health solutions, investigating healthcare policies, right, to improve medical accessibility or patient outcomes. All right, where can you find some of these research opportunities? So there really are like these four main categories. One, labs, university labs, where you can cold email a professor in a particular university doing research in what you're interested in, and they'll take you, be it in the summer or some other time in the year, and you go to a lab and do research there. The other kind is a research program. So this is the one that I've dedicated a whole video to about summer programs. It's great. You apply. It's a structured program. There's no cold emailing. You just apply and you get in, and it takes care of everything. It's a structured program where you ideally take responsibility for a project and you have a presentation or a publication or something like that at the end of it to do. Next is going to be hospitals and clinics. Okay, so this is more in terms of like medical research internships. Okay, and we talked about those before. And finally, self-led projects. This is where you say, I'm doing my own thing, conducting something independent, and then submitting it to journals. All right, so how to actually do this? So first of all, you want to choose a topic that aligns with your niche, right? We go back to this niche every single time because it really determines what you're going to spend your time doing research in. And research is not an easy activity to do. It's going to take a lot of your brain power and a lot of your energy. So you better make sure that it's something that you're interested in. All right, and then you're going to reach out to mentors and PIs or apply to summer programs. So once you know what kind of research you want to do, you should now start reaching out to the professors at these schools that you want to work in their lab, or obviously apply to these summer research programs. 3, not necessary, but I recommend that you invest in your skill set a little bit. As a high school student, you have like very little to offer in the way of research. You really are the one taking most of the value in that relationship. But it would definitely help if you learn some basic data analysis and coding. You can look at an online course and learn it. Because when you apply, especially when you're cold emailing, and you're like, hey, I already know how to use Python and R. They're like, oh, wow, that's awesome. We actually could use your help. But if you're like, hey, I know nothing and I really want to use this experience to learn, it's a harder sell. Okay? And then what you want to do is present, publish, and submit to competitions. This is another thing. You can also obviously do this to submit to conferences like public health conferences, for example, or any other conference, but you can definitely use this for competitions. So places like ISEF, we talked about science fairs like ISEF and Regeneron, different journals. You can consider submitting this to high school research journals. So if you don't know, the end goal of a lot of research is to actually publish it somewhere so people can read about it. And those are called journals. And there are many different journals. The ones you should be focusing about or on are high school research journals. And there's a couple different ones depending on what type of research you're doing. Just look it up. Now, what are you going to be able to do to get started on this? First of all, identify 3 to 5 topics that you're curious about that fit your narrative or your niche. Then you're going to go ahead and identify the professors or labs that you want to reach out to. Okay, so this is if you're going the cold emailing route, which I recommend everybody do, and you're going to still apply to at least 2 to 3 research programs or competitions. But if we're specifically talking about research programs, like summer research programs over the summer, okay? And if that's the only thing you're applying to, then again, apply to at least 4. I already talked about that in my summer programs video. Then you're going to also think about, you don't have to do this, but think about exploring independent research as a potential option. I don't recommend this to most people, but if you've exhausted the first couple options, then start thinking about this. And then finally, you could think about what types of publications or competition opportunities you can present to. Because say like you want to present or compete in ISEF, then by looking at the types of competitions or research rather that has one and people have submitted to that, then you could figure out, well, maybe what kind of research would you want to do now, okay? So sit down, write this out, and really think about what research would you actually enjoy doing for at least a year, if not more, okay? And I'll see you in the next video.